If you haven't heard about the Drake-Kendrick beef, well, first of all, welcome back from your mission to Mars. And second, you gotta see this. Rappers have been beefing with each other since the dawn of rap, but these two have been going for the jugular. Kendrick's bars are so hot that they make me want to apologize, and he doesn't even know me. One line in particular has taken the internet by storm.
We don't wanna hear you say nigga no more.
Long story short, Kendrick is calling out Drake's blackness as being performative and arguably a kind of appropriation. Whether or not this accusation holds water is not really for me to say, but it did get me wondering, how often does Drake say the N-word? To answer this question, I did what any unemployed programmer would do, I wrote some code. I won't bore you with the details, but I spent about 12 consecutive hours downloading song lyrics, annotating them with missing information, and asking Gemini how in God's name pandas works. The end result is this webpage, available on my website. A chart of all of Drake's songs, optionally condensed by year, with the number of N-words in each. To save space, I've only included songs with at least one N-word, and on the chart you can see their titles, albums if applicable, and release dates. So right away you can see a huge outlier on the graph, which is this one right here, Family Matters by Drake. This of course was released about a week ago at time of recording, and on this track, Drake says the N-word 37 times, which is the most by far. In second place, we have Good Riddance, which apparently is an Aristo diss track that was released way back in 2009, and in third we have the We Made It freestyle by Drake, which was released in 2013 and has the N-word 27 times. So Family Matters sees a big departure in Drake's career, and of course this song was specifically written in response to Kendrick's line, so he's using the N-word as much as possible to kind of get a dig at Kendrick. Other songs that came out as part of this feud don't have the N-word nearly as many times. Push Ups has it 15, and The Hard Part 6 only has it 3 times. So at least this year, Drake hasn't really said the N-word that much, which does put a little bit of a question mark onto how valid Kendrick's criticism really is. I will say though that there has been a loose trend of increase of number of N-words in recent years. If you click this button over here, you can see the songs basically compressed into a by-year sequence. But from this graph, we can see that Drake used the N-word a total of 207 times in 2013, with an average of 9.86 times per song. That is kind of a lot, but believe it or not, this year actually has a slightly higher average at 9.44 average N-words, I think almost entirely due to the presence of Family Matters. I don't know how I fucked this up and thought that 9.86 was less than 9.44. Just ignore the part where I'm stupid, I'm sorry. So despite this peak in 2013, I think that Drake has generally been in an N-word low period for the past few years. Starting in 2016, we've got a 4.08, 3.75, 3.95, little jump here at 6.6. Most of these values are pretty low until you get to the recent jump because of the feud in 2024. The grand total number of N-words that I counted was 1647, 1,647 N-words with an average of 4.89 per song. This number is a little bit skewed because I'm only counting songs that have at least one N-word in them, so the average is likely lower because I'm sure Drake has a lot of songs where he doesn't say the N-word at all. I decided to also do the same analysis for Kendrick Lamar. A couple of interesting things about this graph. First of all, Kendrick's first known releases that I could find were way back in 2003, so he's been in the game for almost 20 years at this point. Much like Drake, he also has a higher density of N-words earlier in his career that then tapers off later on. There is this cluster of N-words over here that at a preliminary glance looks like it's largely due to some unreleased tracks coming out and also some live shows and freestyles, but in 2024 we see the release of Euphoria, which is one of Kendrick's most N-word dense tracks. I don't really know how to interpret this, but I'm going to assume that Euphoria kind of embodies a lot of his anger towards Drake and his frustration about the industry as a whole, and he might be channeling that into the increased usage of N-words. The track with the highest number of N-words is a previous version of Element called Sons, with a total of 35, and when I looked it up I saw that it's because a previous version of Element actually had the N-word appear very frequently in the chorus, which of course increases this total. Another song with a very high number of N-words is Tammy's song from section 80. If we now group the songs by year, we can see some more interesting statistics. For example, Kendrick's peak year of N-words is 2012, which is the year that Good Kid, Mad City was released, at a total of 230, which is actually slightly more than Drake's total, which was 207 in 2013. I think it's very interesting that both of these artists had a peak N-word count that are close in number and close in year. Maybe they have more in common than we thought. Going by average, similar to Drake, Kendrick has a higher average of N-words from 2010 to 2015 that then starts to taper off a little bit with a small bump in 2019, and of course a very large gap here when Kendrick went through something of a hiatus. We didn't hear from him for a little while, and it's not until his return to form in 2024 that we see a lot of N-words again. The average N-words per song for 2024 so far is 10.5, which is actually significantly higher than Drake's. Again, this is likely due to the diss tracks having a much higher density of N-words because it is such a frustrating time for Kendrick. The grand total number of N-words that Kendrick has used is 1,688, which is actually very close to Drake's total. However, his average N-words words per song is 5.86, which is about one higher than Drake's. I thought for a little while about how to account for this discrepancy. Is he more angry than Drake? Is he more black than Drake? We may never know. But my theory is that Drake tends to release a lot of songs that have kind of a chilled out vibe where he doesn't really swear or say the N-word all of that much, and those songs probably bring his average down somewhat. Kendrick, on the other hand, is an artist who is constantly bringing the heat in every single track he releases, and because of that, the total number of N-words is going to be somewhat higher. That's my interpretation of the data, but I'm not really sure how accurate this is. I'm not like a huge hip-hop head. I do really like Kendrick, but I'm not that familiar with the culture outside of that, so I'm really curious to hear what you think. Go ahead and check out the charts on my website if you want to see the data for yourself. Let me know what you think about the beef, and also please, for the love of God, subscribe to my channel. I have been unemployed for like 6 months now. It's really hard to find work as a junior software engineer, so I need something to do with my time, and making videos is a lot of fun, so I'd like to keep doing it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to me on Patreon. You'll gain access to a Discord server where I'm active every day, and also a new show called The Weekly Babble, where I ramble about my many special interests, including books, music, chess, the fate of humanity, and whether or not pineapple belongs on pizza. Click the link in the description to check it out.